Who among us this morning knows what it feels like to lose our freedom? If I was asking this question last January, in January 2020, I'm sure that very few, if any of us, would have been able to answer yes to that question. Then, just over a year ago, this week, all of us living in this country were placed under something that most of us had not even heard of before, but have all heard about almost every single day since. The word used to describe our new situation is lockdown. Since March of last year, we have all experienced, at one time or another, living under lockdown restrictions, under which rules we have all lost many of the freedoms which we have come to take for granted. Freedom to hold large family gatherings, freedom to meet as many friends as we want, freedom to go to football or rugby matches, freedom to go to school, freedom to travel wherever we want, freedom to visit loved ones. All these and many other freedoms were taken away from us. And how difficult and testing have we found the removal of those freedoms from us to be? But we've all lost only some of our freedoms, and the removal of those freedoms from us has only lasted 12 months so far. I know it may seem like it's been a lot longer. Hopefully, over the coming months, those freedoms will gradually be given back to us. But can you imagine how it would feel to lose all of your freedoms and to lose all of your freedoms for all of your life? This total and complete loss of freedom for many lifetimes was what the Israelite people had to live through. Some 2 to 3 million Israelites were held as slaves in Egypt, where the Egyptians were their masters, and they had to endure being slaves for over 400 years. We've been in lockdown for less than 400 days, and we know how tough that has felt. Now, being a slave meant that you had no freedoms and you were entirely at the mercy of your master. You were not paid and had to obey every order your master gave you. As a slave, you could even be killed because your life was regarded as being worthless. The number of people living in Scotland at this moment is about 5 million, so roughly half the entire population of Scotland was forced to live as slaves in Egypt. That's a lot of people being forced to live without freedom. Moses, one of God's great leaders, asked God to help free the Israelites from their slavery in Egypt, and God agreed to do this. God told Moses to ask Pharaoh, who was the ruler of Egypt, to let the Israelites go free, but Pharaoh repeatedly refused to let them go and told Moses that he did not believe in God. Pharaoh even forced the Israelite slaves to work harder than before because he had been asked to free them and was angry about this. Time after time, Pharaoh refused to listen to Moses' request to set the Israelites free, and so, after being very patient with Pharaoh, God decided to show Pharaoh his incredible power to make Pharaoh free the Israelites. God did this by sending 10 plagues, or punishments, to the land of Egypt, which showed Pharaoh how powerful God is. First, the clear waters of the giant river Nile, which Egypt needed to make sure its people and crops had enough water to drink, turned thick and red and was undrinkable, and the fish in it all died, but still Pharaoh refused to let the Israelites go free. Next, many thousands of frogs came to live in people's homes, but still Pharaoh refused to let them go free. Next, God sent lice, which swarmed over Egypt, but still Pharaoh did not change his mind. Then God sent a swarm of flies, but still Pharaoh did not let them go. The fifth plague caused Egypt's cattle, horses, camels, and sheep to die. Still Pharaoh did not let them go. Next, the people of Egypt became covered in boils, but still Pharaoh did not change his mind. Next, there was a severe hailstorm over Egypt, but still Pharaoh did not set them free. Next, God sent swarms of locusts, which ate the crops being grown in Egypt. By now, even the Egyptian people themselves were begging Pharaoh to release the Israelites, but still he refused. The ninth plague was darkness. For 3 whole days in Egypt, the sun did not shine, and Egypt was in complete darkness. That must have been very scary. But still, Pharaoh refused to let the Israelites go free, and so even after 9 plagues had been sent to Egypt by God, Pharaoh still refused to do God's will and set the Israelites free. And so God decided to send a 10th plague and told Moses that the firstborn child in every single Egyptian home would die. God told Moses that the Israelites would be saved and their children would not be harmed if they followed God's instructions. God told Moses to tell the Israelites to put lamb's blood on the top and sides of the doors of their homes, and that no child would be harmed in a house which was marked with the lamb's blood in this way. The Israelites were also to eat a special meal of roast lamb, unleavened bread, that's bread made without yeast, and bitter herbs. This special meal was to prepare the Israelites for their long journey out of slavery in Egypt to a new land which God had promised them. The Israelites did what God, through Moses, told them to do, and they were all spared. But the firstborn child in the other houses in Egypt died, and finally Pharaoh set the Israelites free. And so began the first Passover feast, which celebrated God's passing over or sparing the Israelite homes, whose doors were marked with blood, as God had commanded. To this very day, the Feast of the Passover is one of the most important Jewish festivals, which celebrates the exodus or departure of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. And so God saved the Israelites from 400 years of terrible slavery in Egypt and showed his amazing power over all the earth. Pharaoh, Egypt's ruler, thought that he could ignore God and that he was more powerful than God and did not need to listen to God. And so God, after giving Pharaoh so many chances to set the Israelites free, and Pharaoh having rejected every single chance to change his mind, God finally showed Pharaoh his amazing power. Our God is indeed a powerful God, as he clearly showed in the way he dealt with Pharaoh. Our God is also a loving God. He showed his love for the Israelites by saving them from terrible slavery in Egypt. And God showed his love for every single one of us by sending his son Jesus into the world to save us and to set our hearts free to follow him, to live our lives in a way that is pleasing to him. And now we're going to sing a song by John Reddick, which is called You Keep Hope Alive.